Okay, since we are an urban transit authority, and in the brief absence of our chair, I've been asked to open the meeting, so I'm going to do it. After all, I'm woke, right? All right, we're going to now call the roll. When we get to your name, or better yet, I tell you what, you just announce whether you're here or not. I'm Walter Searcy, and I'm here.
Mary Griffin here.
Jessica Dauphin, present.
All right. Ms. Miller will not be here with us. Ms. Breen will not be here with us. And Ms. Williams is on her way. Let's now then go to the next agenda item, which is the approval of the June 24 meeting minutes. Do I hear a motion?
Mary Griffin, motion to approve the minutes.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Without objection, then the minutes are adopted. That's right, you're right, that's right, give some space.
That's me off.
That's right.
Wow.
I told you I'm woke.
You are.
All right, now we'll have our public comments, and the first person I'm going to ask to address us is none other than John Bull. Mr. Bull, you have 3 minutes to give us whatever you wish.
I won't hold you to that. I live at 370 Wallace Road, think Northern Antioch. I'm a frequent rider. Got 3 things. I'm glad the drivers are following the federal guidelines of having people wearing masks. The Vanderbilt ICU is overflowing, just so people know. QT, I have it on my phone. It's just been working flawlessly. There's a session this weekend about some nuance about the dispensing machines at the main bus station. As I volunteer work with street people, I'll be paying special attention to that. One of the nice things about the QT application is it keeps a really good log of when you're using your tickets, when you log on, so you can track your usage and where you are. And that's a nice little feature. One thing, Major League Soccer is starting early March if things hold the pattern. And the bus stops at the fairground, the site locations are still up in the air. Although the stadium, it appears, won't be ready to go until sometime perhaps in May, just a time frame there. The Latinx community along Nolensville are very interested in the Major League Soccer programs. There'll be a lot of traffic on Route 52, to be sure. And the sooner that the October system changes come up, the better, without any doubt. That's a good thing. Oh, and another bit, the eco seats, the tiny little seats for the secondary use bus stops, like on the big buses, the decals you slap in the window that says, please offer your seat to the elderly or disabled. That would be really slick to put those on the back of those seats. That's all I got. Good to see y'all.
Thank you, sir. The next presenter is Steve. Steve, how do you pronounce your last name? Ryder. Okay. We're going to get you to Ryder better.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and the members of the committee. It's good to see everybody. Certainly the pandemic has played a lot of havoc with everybody. I'm sorry to see, James Thomas, he moved up to Indiana, and I didn't see Peter O'Connor here, so I know that there's just been a lot of changes over time. So I do want to hear the presentation regarding what's going to happen at the North Nashville Transit Center. I think a lot of people, apparently they're not here, so I don't know what the community outreach was. I thought there'd be a lot more people here. I do think to improve ridership, and I talked with Steve just briefly, some jurisdictions are looking at free rides, if you will, to improve ridership. I don't know what's in your strategic plan, but I know I've seen some of the buses and the ridership looks to me a little lower than what it should be. I know that's your call, but I do think there's still a lot of people who are struggling out there. And it's, the pandemic has played a big role. A lot of people are working remotely now if they can. Other people are asked to report for work and they're thinking, well, I got used to working at home and I don't know if I want to do that anymore. And I know the homelessness community, I know when things get cold, they're going to be relying on you for getting to shelters whatever's going to happen. I think they're talking about going back to the old jail again, which I'm not very happy about because I think homeless people see barbed wire in jails more than they really should. But I appreciate everything that you guys are doing. I'm glad that we still have Steve Bland. I hope he's got a golden handcuff to him right now because I think he's one of the better department heads that we have. He's straightforward and he's been very good. So I've said it before, I'll say it again. I don't know what his performance evaluation is, but from my perspective, he's doing a pretty good job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Checks in the mail, Steve.
I believe we have an additional presenter, Darius Knight. Is Mr. Knight arrived? No. Okay, he is not. But we are aware that he has sent in his commentary, and we will acknowledge that for the record. All right. Let's go ahead and move to Operations and Finance, which is a committee that I know a little bit about, so I guess I'll crank it up. We have Ed Oliphant here with us this morning, even though he wants to obfuscate himself with a UT mask, but we'll tolerate that for the
Thank you, sir.
purposes of this meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
And you may engage.
On pages 8 through 10, we have the financials. We've changed it up a little bit as we move in some different directions. You see that now I'm putting in a summary of the report for May and year-to-date and highlighting anything of unusualness and then just leaving it open for questions. I will say that next month I do plan on bringing some more information regarding the recovery of our Premier Parking and Dunkin' Donuts. I can say Dunkin' Donuts is looking like they're back to about 78% of normal, which is pretty amazing. Yeah. It's not a lot of dollars on our budget, but it's still a trend that's worth noting. But I'll come back next month and give an update on that and probably where the CARES Act stands. Once we close out the audit year, we'll know what we did spend out of last year's guess, and then we'll move that forward and give you an update. So unless there's any other questions, that concludes my report on the financials.
Ladies, any queries?
None from here. They were in good order.
All right, hearing none. You want to take us through the balance sheet?
Take you through the balance sheet? Yes, sir, I can. Basically, in terms of on page 10, there's nothing unusual on the balance sheet, and usually I will highlight about 2/3 of the way down, the note payable is still zero. We have plenty of money elsewhere that we can use, so we hopefully will minimize our use of the line of credit, only in extreme emergencies. And then at the bottom of the page, the accounts receivable and payables. And as I noted in the verbiage, that RTA owes MTA about $309,000, which they have paid, by the way. And we owed them at that time about $31,000, which we have paid, so.
Okay. All right. Any questions about the balance sheet? If not, we will then go to the debt obligation notification for the line of credit extension.
Thank you, sir. This is a normal item. I'll be very brief, pages 11 through 14. We did, as you know, enter into a new line of credit for an annual from July to June for the $20 million up to $20 million. The Comptroller's Office requires public entities to have this information in a public setting so that the public can see what is being done in terms of debt. So basically, we did submit this to the Comptroller, which is included on pages 12 through 14 if you want to see it. And we have fulfilled our obligation to the Comptroller by having it in the minutes of the meeting, so.
All right. One day, I'm going to get a better understanding of the non-use fee, but we won't worry about it today. Anybody have any queries?
Bankers.
Bankers.
Bankers,
Oh, yeah.
non-UC's bankers.
Oh, yes, oh, yes. We know the recipient. The query is why, but thanks, Ed. We appreciate it. Dan, are you going to make the next presentation, or Andy? Oh, okay. All right. Andy, we're talking about the monthly operating stats. Is there anything on the dashboard you want to zoom us in on?
Thank you, Chair. Nothing out of the ordinary. I will just say that we are trending in the upward direction for ridership. However, we're still around that 40 to 50% down from pre-COVID numbers. So you will note that in May of last year, we did reduce a lot of service, and we are getting back to closer to a restoration of service. We're at 90% currently. And as we kind of see the October service changes, which will be described a little bit more in the future. I will note that come next month, we're going to be bringing some alternate concepts to you guys, just for some condensity, as well as some additional transparency on how the ridership and different types of indicators will look like for us in the future. So, but that concludes my report for this.
Thank you, sir. Questions? All right. Thank you, Andy. Now, who's going to make the replacement seat insert contract award presentation?
That'll
Will
be
that
me as
you
well.
as well? All right.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, board members. This item is an action item to request the CEO to enter into a fixed price contract with Gillig LLC for a total cost of $521,088, with a contingency amount of $50,000 not to exceed $571,000 using CARES Act funds. WeGo released an invitation to bid for seat inserts for 97 of our fixed route buses. As we are phasing toward post-pandemic times, we want to remain resilient in our approach to providing safe, clean, and reliable service for our customers. Historically, these seats were difficult to clean due to the cloth material, and therefore WeGo decided in the best interest of cleanliness and our passengers, we sought out vinyl seat inserts that reduce dust, are faster to clean, and are overall more hygienic. We had 3 bidders to take part in this process. While we appreciate each of those bidders, we did find that Gillig came in with the lowest cost for the project. So this project will continue to help WeGo striving in the direction to prevent future spread of illnesses by ensuring an aggressive approach to cleaning with these inserts. Therefore, we request the board to give CEO the authority to enter into the contract with Gillig for a contract term of 12 months, not to exceed the total contract budget of $571,000.
Couple of questions here.
Sure.
One is, was Aero Design on the same page with
I'm sorry?
Aero Design? I mean, why is their bid so much more for the same materials?
So they, my understanding with these bids is, you know, we put out specific design requirements for this, as well as what we were looking for. Aero Design came in with, you know, much higher cost than what we were looking for, as well as delivery times. I will add that Gillig did come in with delivery times that are within, I think it was 8 to 10 weeks, and Aero Design came in at 21 weeks, so they were immediately off the table, as well as the cost, so.
Mr. Chair, my understanding when talking to Andy and Amber on this was also Aero Designs was a product they were going to have to create, where Gillig and NFI, the product's in existence and is more or less an off-the-shelf kind product.
All right. We don't want to do this, yeah. Yeah. We heard the recommendation. Are there any additional questions? All right, hearing none, we will, the committee will adopt this recommendation and pass it to the board.
So do you want to make a motion, Walter, then to
Sure.
approve it? Or ask for one?
The chair moves that we accept the recommendation of staff regarding the replacement seat insert contract.
Second.
All in
What?
favor?
You're right, on the right track.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You have a girl choir now.
Yeah, that's right, the sopranos and well, baritone, tenor, I guess, I don't know what. All right, the next agenda item is the workplace health and safety consulting services. Nick, you're gonna present that for us?
Yes, sir, I will.
Thank you, sir.
My pleasure. Thank you, Mr. Chair and board members. Certainly in keeping step with the project that Andy is working on and, you know, providing better and safer services on our buses, you know, really planned, this project is to ensure the overall safety of our whole system. So in preparation of restoring bus services back to full pre-pandemic levels, to make additional improvements in line with the Better Bus Plan and emerging best practices. And as we think about, plan, and prepare for our employees to all return back into the office, we desire to continue our best safety and hygienic practices. So we requested proposals from firms interested in and qualified to not just get us through, you know, what we're facing now, but really provide a long-term strategy to make certain that we're increasing our understanding of overall workplace safety. So request for proposals was published on WeGo Public Transit and Transit Talent. And kind of due to the specialized and kind of new area focus of this project, the project had a DVE participation goal of 4%. So invitations were emailed directly to 13 firms that initially responded to our request for information, as well as a number of other certified DVE subcontractors. So after we completed the final evaluation, TDS and Associates, which is a minority male-owned firm, was selected and received the evaluation committee's highest ranking with strengths in training and their experience of similar scope. So I won't bore you all with all the details of what they'll provide for us, but I'll just give you a few highlights. They'll provide us with written protocol for all of our vehicles and facilities. They'll train our employees on infection control and prevention. All of our janitors will receive OSHA certification as a result of TDS's specialized training, and all of our vehicles and facilities will be tested on a rotating schedule. The contract value is $320,000 in year 1, with years 2 and 3 being optional if the services are still needed. It'll be paid for with CARES Act funding, which this project certainly is consistent with this source's stated intent of enhancing system resilience. So in lieu of all those things, staff requests the board to give the Chief Executive Officer the authority to execute the contract with TDS and Associates to provide continued health and safety mitigation services for a 3-year period in an amount not to exceed $596,000. That is my presentation, Mr. Chair. I'll take any questions, and if none, I'll turn it back over to you, sir.
Queries?
Yeah, the total amount of over $500,000, that's for a total of 3 years.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay, hearing no other queries, no objections, then I move that we accept the recommendation of staff regarding the award of the Workplace Health and Safety Consulting Services Agreement.
Move to second. Second it.
Yeah?
Yep.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and board members.
Thank you. leave anything for Gail today, are you?
Well, we're gonna try like all heck, I know that.
Just the right button, not the left.
Before we get into the next committee agenda, let me also raise the flag of our upcoming procurement. Please look at that in some detail, and as projects are consistent with vendors that you may know or have worked with, please let the gang know, because they are also fishing in those waters. All right, that concludes the business of operations and finance. We can go ahead and transition into the work of the NICE committee. The first portion of their work directs itself to the North Nashville public engagement process. And Amber Gooding is going to make that presentation for us.
Yes, I am. Thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the board. So actually today, what I'm going to talk and focus a little bit more as opposed to the overall community engagement is actually our approach to business diversity and maximizing our utilization of minority and women-owned businesses throughout the life of this project and beyond. So some of the things that we have learned from our stakeholders as we have been engaged in this process, Dugar Communications is leading that effort with the community engagement, and we have all participated in a number of various video calls and meetings and so forth. And some of the themes that have emerged, which is probably at no surprise, that this is a community that really expects and deserves to see it be reflected of its community. So in the way of, they're looking for really maximum utilization of African-American owned businesses, the labor force to reflect that, as well as hopefully as the project is completed, that we see contracts awarded in that same, in that same way. So in order to accomplish this, we really have been working on an approach that involves really two tiers. First of all, we do want to try to meet our federal mandate, and that is to utilize really certified DBEs. But then also the second tier, which is also equally important for businesses that aren't certified in that area, is to still maximize our use of local, small, minority, and women-owned businesses. This next slide here, what I wanted to present is sort of what I would call a little bit of a reality check. The scopes that are presented here are actually scopes of work that were identified when embarking upon the Hillsborough project. Transit centers are not necessarily your typical building type of projects that involves a lot of trades. There are more specialized trades. And so some of the things we found out when I was working on identifying vendors and so forth is that we really do have in this Middle Tennessee market area a lack of what we would call available firms at this point, or those that we really know about. And how we go about identifying those are through those directories and people who are certified. So this is really to provide an overview is that while there are firms out there in some areas that they are challenging and will probably be challenging for us to maximize, say for instance, in structural steel, as well as glass and glazing. Additional challenges that we're finding that small businesses are having, just not minority-owned businesses or women, but small business period, especially emerging from this post-COVID environment, is cash flow. Access to ready and able labor. I mean, that's across the board. We're seeing that all over the United States. Material availability. The supply chain has a lot of hiccups. And so when you're bidding a project and you're counting on that supplier to provide you materials and trying to deal with an owner's schedule and then facing many times that those materials aren't available, That can affect certainly the project due date. Person could be looking at liquidated damages and other things. In talking with contractors and so forth, many times those sort of things do affect whether or not they really even want to step up to the table and bid, because there is a risk. Last but not any least important is also experience with transit projects and so forth. We really need and to ensure that when people come to the table that they can deliver. This next slide here is to really to add some additional context to what these challenges are. I returned here from Nashville, from St. Louis actually, for 7 years. Nashville is home, came back here, and was really sort of struck by a lot of the differences in what I would call the available contracting community market. And so one of the things I wanted to do was to provide some context and overview about how some of our sister cities compare to us when it comes to the tools that really a city and city government help to provide for small businesses. And, you know, it's been touted quite often. Nashville is the 23rd largest city, and that's wonderful. When you can see when we do some comparison of the various tools that are afforded to small businesses to help them develop and grow as those cities grow, we in Nashville are lacking in those. And those are extremely, extremely important, because what's happening here is that our government-funded, federally funded, many times projects, are the ones where goals are focused on and minority participation. And so what happens is that when you don't have those types of projects going on consistently, like we see in some of the other cities and so forth, then the capacity is inconsistent, because these firms are really reliant upon that focus to be on diversity to help bring them to the table. And so we see this sort of up and down with them, as opposed to more consistency. We also see that, particularly also in cities where there are strong labor union forces, it also helps small businesses to be able to man up for those jobs, because they can go directly to the labor unions for ready, willing, and able labor. They don't generally have to worry about the level of expertise. Having spent the last 7 years in St. Louis, I came to appreciate that we also had a number of firms and people who spent their lifetime in the trades deciding they wanted to start their own business. So they were emerging from that platform with a great deal of experience, and then what they needed to add the piece was how to get it done, how to be that administrator. And so we just see a lot more firms that are actually out there in the marketplace, going back to that previous slide, to really sort of help boost, really, who can also compete and will be on these jobs. So even with those challenges here, I think we've developed a really good approach to ensuring that we are going to identify those firms and stay on top of this and talk and meet with people to really ensure that we have a well-rounded group of people who will be working on the project. So as the first note says, that developing a database of firms according to expertise. Me and a couple of my staff members were engaged constantly with firms about that, holding sort of little mini meetings, identifying those capabilities and impediments, workforce, bonding, experience, financing, and so to speak. Partnering with stakeholders to host scope discussion sessions. That's next on our list. There are a number of folks who emerged from those stakeholder meetings who have volunteered and say, hey, just like you all do with the upcoming opportunities, they would say, we're willing to help identify people. And in fact, a meeting with an area pastor did just that, and there were 2 architects. And in fact, they have their applications in to become certified. They had never sought that, and so we're in the process of certifying them, and we expect for them to propose on some upcoming work that I'll identify in just a minute. Along with that, again, ongoing hosting of matchmaking sessions with primes and subs. Some of the things that we've learned through the years, certainly I have in doing this work, is that the more advanced notice that people have about opportunities, the better prepared they are. And when I say advance notice, not just simply posting something on a website or sending them, the ITB or something, but really engaging, yes. Exactly, and talking with them and finding out, you know, what some of those impediments are, referring them to people who can also of assistance, particularly on the cash flow side. That's something that, I mean, it takes money to run these businesses and to be able to really front load a payroll. Next steps, and a great opportunity for diversity that I just mentioned. We've already had additional couple of firms to come forward to get certified. In fact, I believe it is already posted. There will be a pre-proposal meeting or pre-qualifications meeting next week hosted, but we are moving forward with our engineering department, or rather we are supporting them in this, in issuing what we call a request for qualifications. And this package is going to be pretty robust, and it's going to include design and constructability review, contractor, supplier, vendor outreach. That's probably something a little bit new and different that's been not in some of our previous packages, but we will probably continue with that. And what that really gets to is identifying particularly Buy America products, ensuring that those products are available, working with this team, will work back with the architects and so forth as they are developing the designs. And most importantly for me is that they're going to assist me in helping to step up those outreach efforts in identifying firms, and so that we can get hopefully to a really good matchmaking outcome for firms. So by the time that we move to full design and construction, documents issued next January, February, that we'll have a really good forecast of who can come to the table and perform work for us. And so with that, I'll take questions.
Well, let me ask about the architects.
Sure.
Is one of them Harold Thompson?
Harold Thompson, as far as who's come forward to be certified, not that I am aware of. Is this someone that we should look at?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
All right, sir. Thank you.
You're right on glazers, electricians. You're going to have a more difficult time finding minority contractors, although the contractors that do bid and are qualified should have minority apprentices and or journeymen on their payroll. Now in masonry, there's an abundance of African-American contractors, both brick, block, and concrete, as well as Latinos. Plenty. So we need to tap those areas. And
Definitely.
let me know what assistance I can give in that regard, and we'll try to deal with that.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You'll hear more details of some of these efforts in the next probably month, 6 weeks. So.
Good. Great.
Any
Madam Chairperson, by the way, the second thing I want to say is thank you for arriving when you did.
Oh, well, first of all, Mr. Cersei, thank you for standing in my place instead, and I'm certain that you did just amazing.
He was great.
He was great. See? Consensus? You great,
Almost
Mr.
as
Cersei.
good as you.
Almost as good as me?
That's
Awesome.
right.
I better look out, huh? Miss Bill, you all right over there? Your arms all wrapped up? Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. But thank you so much. And I got sort of the back end of your report, but what I did like that I heard was about your willingness to help people become certified.
Definitely.
Because that process is hard and it's
Yes.
difficult, and being a partner at that stage, other than saying you just don't have it, is very meaningful. And it's something that so many smaller business owners who could be qualified can't, because they don't have the resources to get to it. So the fact that you would be that gracious is,
Well, that's the job, and that job has been made easier. The presentation I gave back in February about the diversity software system that we've launched, just so that certification tool went live a couple of months ago, and so we're actually seeing, people we haven't necessarily engaged with because they can find it very easily. It's all automated. So I expect that we'll have a lot more certifications in the pipeline.
Thompson is certified too, isn't he?
Yes, you know what, I knew the name sounded familiar. I think he is. Mhm.
Awesome, thank you very much. Any other questions for Ms. Goody?
Just regarding the cash flow, first of all, every time I thought of a question, you answered it in the next sentence. So it's a good thing I'm learning to kind of keep quiet for a second. Regarding the cash flow, is there something we can do as a board to speak with, a group or something? I mean, how is that cash flow piece? I know it's a huge problem to front load if you're a small company. How is that handled in other cities?
Well, in several other cities, they actually have contractor loan funds that have been set up and backed, sometimes with funds from private sector, along with banks. We have some really big projects going on in the city, such as the soccer stadium and so forth. And so that money is banked someplace to fund contractors and so forth. And what many times banks will do, just knowing that they've got some pretty important people behind it, is for that small business to be able to take that contract once it's signed, sealed, and delivered, and say, hey, and use it really pretty much as a collateral piece to provide that, what we call sometimes mobilization funds, because the subcontractor is really generally waiting around 60 days or more to be paid. He's getting paid, he or she is getting paid 30 days after the prime many times. So, but there are a lot of good primes out there who are paying their subcontractors sooner than that, but nevertheless, they're still at the end of the food chain with the least amount of resources.
That's true.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. I look forward to providing more updates as we move along.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, good work.
And I know Mr. Walker, Trey Walker is next, but it's my understanding that, Mr. Knight, you did not get a chance to make your public comments?
Yeah, he's come in, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Darius, did you want to make a public comment?
Jersey every time.
Goes from Kentucky to Memphis to Orlando now. And Mr. Knight, I know you know about the 3-minute rule.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I'd like to start off saying, first off, I want to give a memory to bus operator 574, John Giles. He was a bus driver with MTA. We go for many years. He was an excellent driver, helped many of your customers in their times of need when a few of them did not have their bus fare to ride. He was also my uncle, and it's very deep that he has passed. I just want to say on that note, he was an operator that every time he was called to do overtime, he did that every time. And just kind of looking over the information last night that was posted for the things that are going to be in this board meeting about the biannual changes, kind of brought something to my attention. You all need to start having a better relationship with your operators. You are shorthanded, which is the reason why there needs to be a two-approach phase for the fall annual change. And this is only going to get worse, and it's going to continue. I've talked to a few operators who are upset and they feel like they are not appreciated. Some of them say that some of the staff members will walk by them in the driver's hall and not say a word to them. So I can only say so much for the relationships that I have with people here that I speak to personally about whatever the issue is. I can't speak for anything else or whoever else, but it saddens me to hear that. And I feel like there needs to be a change internally. If you do not change very quickly, you are going to lose many of your drivers due to the simple fact that they are working their butts to death during COVID, and some of them have caught the virus. They didn't ask for this. None of the customers asked for this. None of us asked for this. But one thing I am truly, honestly getting tired of is seeing operators who have worked their life at this company and they end up dead because they work so much and spend less time with their family. So I'm going to ask that you all hear me clearly and you make a change. Start to be innovative, be creative, figure out other ways to get operators, to keep your operators. Don't just assume that giving them a top out is going to help them. We are in inflation right now. How is a driver that's topped out being helped? Make that make sense to me. And for the customers as well. I understand the situation very clearly. If you don't have enough operators to do your fall changes, you can't do it. But this was known internally months ago. This has been ongoing since 2018. I would suggest that you stop bringing things to the table to these customers who then do surveys and put all their time and effort and then get excited and tell people about the changes, and then it trickles down to only find out it's gonna be pushed to a later date. You all are basically sabotaging yourselves for growth. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Mr. Knight, and please accept our condolences to your family and to the MTA family for your loss. Okay, there are no more public comments. The public comment section is closed, so that ends that, and I'll turn to you, Mr. Walker.
Thank you and good afternoon. Here today to touch base and bring y'all up to speed on the progress that we've made on the design for the North Nashville Transit Center site. Just a brief history of the site. As I know, this board's had several actions over the last several years. We've kind of been planning to get to this point. The board approved the lease for the facility last year, and in March approved the design task order for Smith G Architects to begin working on the design, moving through this calendar year. As you can see the site on the screen here, we're very close to where we're sitting right now, which is great. You know, it makes stuff very illustrative. So whenever, if anybody wants a tour afterward, we can talk. Just right across the street from where we are now, at Clarksville Pike and 26th Avenue North, the corner of that property that's kind of shown in the with the boundary area on the screen. Before you get to 25th Avenue, the property stops. But we're leasing about 1.75 acres there at that site for our North Nashville Transit Center. Off the page, just to kind of get a little bit bearing, there's a strip mall offset to the page with some commercial property that we anticipate, you know, to develop in the future with our landlord. So looking at just area service and why do a transit center project here, we have a lot of service in this area present day. You know, being at this location today, even if you just kind of spend about 10 minutes out on the corner, you'll see a lot of purple in the neighborhood and a lot of buses circulating. We have the 22 Clarksville Pike that is within our frequent transit network and is really kind of the backbone for service to downtown and to Bordeaux, and will be the backbone of the service to the transit center up and down Clarksville Pike. Similarly, we have the Route 25 that circulates as a crosstown route connecting pretty much every southern arterial in the city, crossing that on its way and terminating at this site right now. And then thirdly, with our present day service, we have the Route 42 St. Cecilia bus that provides local service to and from downtown into the neighborhood in this area. Those circulate the site in present day. With very small extensions of service, we can also route the Route 21, which is another crosstown route, but more or less follows the Wedgwood crosstown loop, connecting all of those southern arterials to the TSU campus right now. So a small extension would enable that to access the site. And similarly, our local service to Metro Center can be shortly extended to the site, bringing 5 present-day routes to serve this center and promote those transfers without the necessity to go downtown. So really improving mobility options to and from those routes. In the future plans, in our future, we plan to bring in another crosstown route that's shown on the top of the screen, which is the Trinity Lane crosstown. And so similarly to all those routes, the crosstown routes that feed in that serve those southern arterials, the Trinity Lane would serve those northern arterials that are really backbone corridors to us, such as Dickerson Pike and Gallatin Pike. So really looking at kind of a one transfer ride from any of the major corridors to this location and to this neighborhood and vice versa. Is really the opportunity for service of this transit center. When we look at our design considerations and operational considerations for a transit facility, some general guiding principles: keep the frequent service on the frequent corridor, right? We want to keep that Route 22 at its high frequency and on a reliable service pattern on Clarksville Pike. So circulating it through the center doesn't really make too much operational sense. However, those other routes that would terminate at the center, we do want to bring through the center and promote that transfer activity for a comfortable, efficient transfer. We want to make sure that safety and reliability for our turning movements in our vehicles is considered. And so with our site geometry and our site topography that we have at this site, we've been analyzing that. So where are the entrances and exits, and making sure those turning movements can be analyzed with our various vehicles. We're also working with the National Department of Transportation to look at future cross sections and considerations for what Clarksville Pike looks like in their long-term plan as well. We also want to provide paratransit connections as well as other mobility connections to the center, such as rideshare alternatives, bike, pedestrian, and scooters as well. So being able to take on additional modes at the facility and provide those transfers to our service and from our service is also a consideration. And then we want to make sure that we have flexibility and growth for capacity. Right now, our center downtown, is got a lot of capacity going through it. So we want to make sure that what we build here, we can build for growth and have future capacity. And then in the sense of taking care of our internal staff, this will be the end of line terminus station for those 5 additional routes coming to and through the service. So a staff break room and a staff restroom similar to our central facility are also key components to incorporate within the center itself. Looking at kind of programming guidelines, this is a screenshot from our transit center design guidelines. I'll just highlight a few of these items, but we'll be able to incorporate nearly all of these items within the North Nashville Transit Center. But some things to highlight are system map and information, not only of how to navigate the system, but also what local and area wayfinding guidance is. So you were to ride here from another part of town, what's in the area, what can you access, and how can you access those points? I touched on employee restrooms and employee break rooms. For customers, we're looking for an elevated waiting experience with a climate-controlled waiting area that's equipped with next bus signage and information on routes coming to and through the area. And then additionally, for those multimodal connections, looking for short and potentially long-term bicycle connections, bicycle storage. So we had a charrette shortly after the board approved the design task order for our team to essentially take this piece of pizza-shaped site and figure out how we can run the proposed service that I've been talking about safely and efficiently to this site. We've got to make sure that those turning movements are safe. We've got to make sure that we can serve the area with all the directional movements in and through the center. And this is our working concept right now. So I'll highlight a few things as we walk through. Again, that's one of those key considerations is keep the frequent transit network on the main corridor. And you'll see that underneath the number 2, on-street loading bays, both inbound and outbound for that Clarksville Pike service. And it's really important to keep those on Clarksville Pike such that they can continue their service to the next destination and connect with that service that's coming into the facility. In a one-way circulation pattern, going from 26th Avenue, or going from Clarksville Pike on the right and top side of the image to 26th Avenue North on the left side of the image, in a clockwise fashion on that interior loop are 5 bus bays in a sawtooth configuration. So it's very similar to our operating standards at WeGo Central. That would be for each of those connecting routes to have their own boarding area based on present service design. One thing that's really important and that we really stands out to us on this design is that if you're a bus rider, if you're a customer on our service, there are no pedestrian bus conflicts with this configuration connecting routes. So think about the right side of the bus is where the boarding and alighting access is for customers. If you're going to and from an interior route, you're able to hop off right on the sidewalk underneath a covered canopy, walk to the next route, make that connection without any sort of potential interference between pedestrians and vehicle turning movements. Similarly, that access is provided to and from those Clarksville Pike connections as well. The only pedestrian crossing that we have right now shown is for potential future connections to the adjacent development as that comes online. So that's shown across the middle. So by comparison, our current horseshoe configuration at WeGo Central has 4 pedestrian crossings per level. So if you're crossing, you're crossing at least twice, and that's at 2 distinct locations depending on how you're getting across the base. So from a safety perspective and just a passenger comfort perspective, we really like that feature of this layout. We're able to serve third-party providers in our paratransit on the pickup drop-off lane on the left side of the image off 26th Avenue North. And then if I talk briefly about the transit center itself, the building itself on the right side is about 3,000 square feet conditioned space that includes sort of an outdoor patio area for outdoor waiting as well. And the amenities of the building include a passenger waiting area, ticket vending system, and site information. We do have a space for an operator, restroom and break room. And then at a facility like this, we will have some residential staff. So our custodial team, our security team, and our operations supervision team will have some touchdown and work areas that are dedicated within this building as well as we serve this facility throughout our operating hours. I do want to draw note to, I've kind of talked around the perimeter of the site. And as we're kind of working through our community engagement process and looking at specific cultural and historical elements to incorporate into the site, there's a lot of the site that I haven't talked about, right? Turning radiuses on buses are so wide. So I would highlight for future consideration as we're walking through our community engagement process, the ability to incorporate elements in areas such as the plaza shown on the walkway to the left, the areas, other open space and walkways throughout the site can incorporate those elements as well as the shared plaza connecting to the adjacent developments. And we'll be walking through those processes with our community engagement team over the coming months. Looking at a 3D concept of the site. So the perspective on the top of the image is zoomed out, looking kind of high above 26th Avenue North, looking towards 25th Avenue North. You have that Clarksville Pike service shown on the left side of the image, and those 5 bus bays circulating kind of from the top of the page to the right side of the image from kind of 12 o'clock to 3 o'clock, with the building shown in the foreground, with a lot of that sort of open space that we said just kind of is connected. Essentially, we need to connect topography across the site, but beyond that, it is open space. Looking at the image below, some material examples, looking at brick and cement paneling for easy maintenance and durability on the site, but also wanting to incorporate glass to highlight entryways and provide daylight for a welcoming environment to the facility. Taking a look at next steps in our project schedule, we'll be continuing with our community engagement efforts. We are currently partnering with community groups and neighborhood groups and staffing outreach opportunities. We have one coming up this Saturday at the Jefferson Street Jazz and Blues Festival. And we also have a survey that we're asking folks that we talk with online to participate in, to provide, currently that survey highlights desires for what folks would like to see in the site and what sort of a definition of that community and cultural element could be. We'll look to shift that survey in the coming months to specifics about what the place looks like, preferences on some of these architectural elements and things of that nature. So we'll be working with our communications team on revamping that and continuing that as we go and meet with community groups. We're working to set up an advisory committee in partnership with Metro Arts for that cultural programming element on the site. And our objective there is to provide recommendations to the board at its October meeting. Overall, we're looking to complete design of the facility by the end of the year, this year. Utilize the winter, as Amber mentioned, to perform our bidding, as it's not a great time to build. But we'll be working with that vendor outreach and starting here in about the next 6 weeks with her team, really looking to get towards robust bids for this facility. And we have about a year-long construction duration starting in the spring of 22, ending in opening of the facility in spring of 23. And that concludes my presentation. I'll take any questions.
Any questions?
Thank you. Do we contemplate at some time post-construction and post-opening consideration for another building on that track?
On our site?
Yes.
We'll be limited on our site, so I would say we would not consider another structure on our site. We will be limited on, from use of the space. There is space available, but it is sort of limited to how you access it, as well as, things such as stormwater management control. Our site will be built out to that standard, so any sort of additional impervious space would require site modifications.
Sure. Require rain garden, yeah. No, what I was thinking about is the cultural utilization aspect. And it would be great, for example, if we could have space for the community to utilize. And they could utilize it as convertible space. Maybe you could have chess or checker tournaments. Maybe you could have bridge or whist parties. Those kinds of things that a public space that's not tied to, well, it's public, and it's not confined to one's church or and it's park district services in that particular area are scarce and remote. So
yeah,
that's what my interest was, but we might be able to accommodate that other ways. We'll see what the community wants.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say, Mr. Chair, with respect to those, there'd be two elements. I mean, Trey's correct, that we're limited on any future construction, but two elements to look at what you're talking about are, number one, the public space within the controlled facility, so that waiting area, which will be pretty substantial. And the other is that very large plaza is certainly going to set itself up well for, a wide variety of public programming types of activities.
I would like to build on that comment. I love the idea of the local art, but when we're thinking about the waiting area, the other real challenge that, folks have, especially in this area, is are there going to be, like when I go to an airport, places where you can charge, your devices? Those are not, very difficult and they're not very, space intensive. And, having good Wi-Fi and that, these are things that I think we kind of do, but let's be intentional about, how we do that. And, to Mr. Chair's point, if there are some kinds of, cement tables in that area for like outside eating, I used to live in New York City, and those can be built with the checker chess, on the top of it, for example. So that, and I love what was said about being structurally sturdy. I think our courthouse, there wasn't input at one point in the criminal courthouse on the elevators. and there was glass inside elevators. And so they were broken by, not shockingly, I don't think, an angry person who was in court, which is fairly common in the first week.
Sure.
So I applaud those efforts. Please, local art, we have to have more opportunities, and I will put out my shout out, but for African American and also particularly there are disabled African American artists. Please let us combine some of those outreach efforts. Those are folks that have a very hard time, getting their work shown, and so that's my thing for today. Thank you.
Absolutely. And just a note on the Wi-Fi and charging stations, that's including sort of the base package of amenities for our facilities. Absolutely.
It looks good. I think these pictures give a really good depiction and help us sort of see, and so this is good progress.
Thank you.
Anybody else, any other questions for Trey? Okay, thank you, Trey.
Thank you.
I appreciate the update.
Absolutely.
Good job. Hello, Felix.
Hello, good afternoon. All right. Good afternoon, members of the board. It's good to see you again. If you please turn to page 26 in your packets, have the fall service changes item. Back at your meeting in May, we presented to you our plans for the proposed changes for the fall. And we explained at that time that we have two main objectives. One was to be able to bring our service back to pre-pandemic levels. Secondly, to take advantage of the COVID relief money from the federal government for the American Act to be able to start implementing it's the first phase of Better Bus to start expanding our system. So with that, we put a service proposal together and went out to the public for a public review and comment. During that public review period, and you see some of a summary here of the public outreach in this slide, and there are some additional details in your packet. But basically, during that period, we had 2 general virtual public meetings, but besides that, we had some targeted outreach meetings, 11 of them actually, and some of them we were able to coordinate with the council members, especially those in districts where the changes were being proposed, to be able to better get the word out and collaborate and get additional feedback for that. We also had a survey, and we were able to have an interactive map where the survey was intended to get additional feedback on more specific details about the changes. But also there was a map linked to that where people can click and see graphically what the changes look like. And we also had some paper surveys that we administered on the buses for people that couldn't access that digitally. So we have 130 participants between all the meetings, 200 comments, and over 270 responses to the survey. The proposal that was presented to the public, of course, was followed the plan that we outlined earlier and the objectives that we discussed back in May. However, in this process, we've encountered some constraints, operating constraints, that are gonna have an impact in our ability to be able to implement the services as we originally proposed. One of those constraints, and you've heard some comments throughout this meeting before, but one of those constraints is the impacts to the manufacturing sector that have altered the supply chain, specifically on the chips for cars. So that has an impact also in the bus industry. That has delayed the delivery of about 35 replacement vehicles for our fleet. That definitely has an impact on our ability to have those buses in service. Also, as with many sectors of the economy, we are experiencing a shortage of labor, specifically on operators. And right now, we just don't have the number of operators needed to be able to implement all these changes at once. Also, and lastly, I should say there's a couple of capital projects that support the service additions for Route 17 and new Route 79 that we're proposing that can benefit from some additional so we can be able to make the project better and enhance their attractiveness. So all that to say that we are proposing a phased implementation of the service changes with a phase 1 taking place in the fall of 2021 and a phase 2 taking place in the spring of 2022. And that is based on what we reasonably can accomplish based on those constraints that I talked about. I'll just give you some highlights of what we are proposing for each of those phases. For phase 1, which is fall 2021, we're proposing to move forward with the rerouting of Route 5 in Bellevue, just to simplify that route, as well as make a permanent detour that we've been operating for over a year and a half now on Route 22, Bordeaux, in the Rosa Parks and Garfield Street areas. We're also proposing to increase the span of service improvements. This will be hourly service until 12:15 a.m. That's going to be on weekdays and Saturdays for our busiest corridors that you see here on this table. Also, we'll be extending WeGo access to match those same times. So this will be kind of a lifeline at this point to be able to provide additional service in those busiest corridors. Also, part of phase 1, we're going to be providing hourly service on Saturdays starting at 5:15 a.m. and operating until 11:15 p.m. That's Saturdays and Sundays for the routes that you see here on this table. And we're proposing some additional span improvements to local routes and connector route that you see there, Lebanon Pike, 42 St. Cecilia, and 76 Madison. And lastly, for phase 1, as far as frequency improvements, we are proposing to add some frequency throughout the day for these routes based on some of the ridership. We want to focus on the peak frequency improvements and other general lower ridership routes for the phase 2. For phase 2 of the changes, as we continue to receive those vehicles, hopefully that process will improve. We continue to work on some of those capital projects that I mentioned and ramp up our efforts to be able to fill those vacancies as far as the operator pool goes. We're proposing for a phase 2 to start in the spring of 2022. Here we will concentrate on adding additional frequency during that additional span of service. 30-minute service until 12:15 a.m. on weekdays and Saturdays, and then 30-minute service until 11:15 p.m. on Sundays for the routes that you see here. We also had talked about extending access on demand until 8 p.m. We are also proposing to move that to the spring 2022 changes. As far as the routing extension and expansion, we have 2 main routes that we were proposing to add expansion to. Route 17, 12th Avenue South, we were proposing to extend that route all the way to the Hillsborough Transit Center. Right now, the end of the line is around Lipscomb University. It will extend to Green Hills and connect there. Well, we know that the anticipated schedule for the completion of the transit center is not until the end of this year, so it doesn't really make sense to add service there, especially when construction is going on. It's going to be more disruptive. So we're proposing to push that to the spring. And then there's the new Route 79 Skyline that we're also trying to work out some better connections between this route and Route 23 in the Skyline area. So we're proposing also to expand that to push that to spring 2022. And of course, this is on top of the issues that we're seeing with the operators. We're also proposing some improvements to the frequency to some local routes that you see on this chart, as well as improved frequency on some of the additional corridors that you see below. That'll be, I'm sorry, for weekend. So that is our proposal. Of course, with any service changes that we do, we also complete a detailed analysis to the changes to make sure that we comply with the Title VI requirements and assess if there are any major impacts to those Title VI protected groups. The overall results from the analysis indicated that there were no adverse effects on any low-income or minority populations when we completed the analysis. I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have, but our recommendation today is to have the board approve the phased approach of implementation of these changes to take place in the fall 2021 and spring 2022. The changes in the fall will take place on October 3rd.
I'd like to add a caveat, if you would allow, Felix. And that is that access on demand has to make more available wheelchair access vans. You can call them and call them and call them. And I know for the last 4 times I've attempted to get access on demand wheelchair van, they have not been able to provide one. I don't know how much that's being replicated, but I sense that it's not a good situation. So whatever they're participating in, we need to put a star on those rascals.
Thank you, Mr. Search. Any other questions? Sure.
I just want to say thanks so much, Felix. I appreciate the intentional way that you all have structured the phasing based on current levels and things that you have, while taking into consideration operator fatigue and material supply, and even future construction end dates for connecting these routes and things. I think this was a lot to take into consideration. I just want to say thank you for that. I do have a question about the phasing. So splitting it up into a fall rollout and then a spring of 22, does that then become spring service changes? And how likely are some of these phase 2 services, how likely are they to change between now and then?
Yeah, that's certainly a possibility, and what we're presenting to you is based on the information that we have at the time and what our plans and efforts look for. Be able to improve that between the fall and the spring, of course. I think we anticipate, depending how things change, doing additional outreach to be able to communicate that to the public. I think, today we'll be looking for an approval to start with these changes and approve this for the spring. But if there were any changes, we definitely will have to go back and do additional outreach and bring any of those changes back to your attention.
That's great. Thank you so much. And thank you for the Title VI report too.
Madam Chair, if I could jump on to Felix's comments as well. So this action would actually implement those phase 2, make effective those phase 2 changes for the spring without any further action by the board. There's a high likelihood that, whenever we put in a service change like we will in the fall, once we go through monitoring, there may be additional tweaks that we do in the spring, but this would represent the significant service change. So it's possible we might have to go back out and look at, do we have to adjust the schedule because of running time issues or a routing issue or what have you, which we do a couple times a year anyway. But by virtue of this action, you're actually adopting that second phase change for March of next year.
Yeah, and my comment is basically if there's anything that raises to the level of a major change, if it's something to what Steve described, that's what we may consider minor and shouldn't have an impact on that. And what you're approving today, as Steve mentioned, will also approve those changes for the spring.
Great, thank you, and thank you for the clarification.
Thank you as well. All the presentations today are just really on point. And I had a question regarding the hourly service beginning at 5:15 and until 11:15. And so some of the areas, you know, and I will speak towards Bellevue because it's what I know, you know, this will be the route, you know, from them. Have we thought about, or do we do efforts to sort of try to get new riders by saying, look, now we're going later, so, you know, sort of event driven, you know, identifying something that might be going on that, you know, we could partner with to perhaps try to get some new riders, perhaps. And I'm thinking because that Bellevue area in particular has a lot of folks on the older end of the spectrum as well. And I have heard some that, you know, just people talking to me that if they understood better the process and how to do it and, you know, all of that, I just wondered if we did outreach, you know, to the senior center or something of that nature, if that would be an option to get people to an event.
Sure. No, and then we always try to do that type of outreach to specific locations. Bellevue was one of the areas that we had a meeting with the council member that she organized and put together to be able to get some of that feedback. As we go now into implementation of the changes, our communications group, then they start that process to start informing the public, and then we ramp up our efforts to let them know, you know, this is what's happening, this is what's coming, and establish those communication lines open. But also Miriam, with our outreach specialist and engagement, she's also in contact with many of those groups specifically. But we're always looking for, if you have any particular suggestions that we should talk to specifically, we can definitely do that.
Also, I'd add in coming months, you'll be hearing more from Renuka on her efforts on putting together an overall marketing plan, but obviously a good chunk of that will focus on both phases of service enhancement, fall and spring, as well as we're doing full rollout of Quick Ticket, probably about first of the year.
And I assume, Felix, that you'll give us updates as things change in terms of product coming in and filling more of our positions, right?
Absolutely. We're already working on how this, you know, post-pandemic is going to look like, and what are some of the things that we're doing, and how we can start improving our service, and how do we look at what success looks like moving forward.
Yeah, let's just hope we get to post-pandemic. Something close to that, I don't know. So we do have any other questions for Felix? If not, we do have a staff recommendation that requests, is anybody chairing new initiatives today, or we just do it? Okay, so.
Move to accept the staff recommendation.
So there's a motion to approve the staff recommendation. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second. Is there any further discussion? There is no further discussion. I will call for the vote. All those in favor of the recommendation, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? All in favor, the motion passes, so you have your changes, Felix. And I think that concludes all the reports from staff, and we did do these. You all did these, right? We did. Oh, okay. So at this time, I call on our CEO, Mr. Bland, for your report.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and good afternoon, members. First of all, I want to thank Mary and Jessica in particular for joining me yesterday at the official kickoff of the Nashville DOT. Exciting prospects, and I know big plans, but particularly, you know, being able to join up and aligning our service priorities with some of the city's infrastructure priorities. So I know there's been a lot of questions folks have posed, certainly to me, and I know to Faye and other folks. Marty Sewell from NDOT. I made a commitment to Faye and Marty and the mayor yesterday. They all bent over backwards to convert to WeGo, so I am in a full NDOT mode. But basically, a good part of the focus is going to be on those infrastructure improvements that support all users of our transportation system. So drivers, walkers, bikers, including transit users in all of those forms. So congratulations to Marty and the team at NDOT, and we are looking forward to hitting the ground running with them. Related, Metro is continuing to advance their planning efforts with the East Bank study, so a lot of exciting development occurring over there, and they've had us actively engaged. I know a number of folks on Felix's staff have been involved in the planning sessions and looking at overall how transit will fit into that, particularly into the infrastructure upgrades associated as the East Bank development evolves. I want to kind of point out, it's been a recurring theme, want to highlight and thank Andy Burke for his efforts on kind of looking at re-engineering our operator selection, hiring, and retention process. So kind of an all hands on deck effort. I will point out, I was recently at a meeting of the Board of Directors of the Tennessee Public Transportation Association where this issue came up. And I won't try to make Andy feel a little better, but our vacancy rate is actually quite a bit lower than pretty much every other transit system in Tennessee. So, you know, if there's a saying of misery loves company, there are some folks having a tougher time of it out there than we are. In prior months, I've mentioned that we've been working with Metro on a collaborative study of the downtown traffic patterns and various options associated with that. Again, that's going to be another NDOT initiative. I'm really glad Marty's here for you all to see and meet because he's going to be the project manager for that effort. But we are coordinating the procurement, so we're expecting to see proposals back on that in the middle of August, and we'll be working with the city to kind of move those through. At all of your seats today, member seats and Margaret, I left a little piece. Gail and I have been working on putting together some governance training, some governance fine-tuning. We've engaged a gentleman named Doug Eady to help us in that process. In the next few weeks, you're going to be hearing from Monica to start scheduling one-on-one interviews and start looking at a fall workshop. But I know as I've been talking to members, it's something that everybody's excited about. Now that we have, you know, in all the parlance of sports, we've completed the draft process and the free agent process, and now the team is in place. It's a good time for everybody to kind of get together on the playbook. So, so we're very anxious to get all of that going. You may recall a month or two ago, you approved a contract with the KFH group to do a full-blown review of our access system. We had the kickoff meeting with them this past week, so they are hitting the ground running, and you'll be hearing from them in the coming months as that progresses. Felix touched on the construction of the Hillsborough Transit Center, which is occurring at a quick pace now. Any of you who are down in the Green Hills area, in the area of the Mall at Green Hills and Hillsborough High School, between the high school construction, our construction, and related infrastructure, it's a construction site. So, but that's moving along very well, and my thanks to Trey and the folks on his team, both staff and contracted support for the continued advance on that project, to the point that where there have been a number of actual meetings with school staff, security staff, what have you, on how we actually commission, open, and operate that facility on an ongoing basis. I also want to I'm going to thank Jessica twice. I guess you suck up to the newest members first. But she spent the better part of a day with me a week or two ago doing the orientation to the MTA. Got the opportunity to tour around the Nestor building, the infamous Nestor building, the famous Myatt building, and of course the ever-present WeGo Central. So Jessica, really appreciate your time that you spent with us to review a whole bunch of current issues, most of which you'd already been up on anyway in your other roles in the community. But being able to kind of walk around and see and touch some of the issues we talk about certainly was very valuable. And then finally, I will update you. I always try to keep you up to speed on what we're doing with our other cap on the RTA side. We're back and forth trying to review or trying to figure out, develop a long-term plan for the WeGo Star, whether we do significant upgrades to it, whether we kind of leave it the way it is, whether we make modest improvements. We issued a request for information to the consulting community, got some really good feedback from 4 firms. So we're basically fine-tuning that to do a full solicitation. And actually, one of the things that came out of that is we're going to do more engagement with the freight operator, R.J. Corman, in that corridor to see if there might be some opportunities for joint benefit to both the passenger and the rail freight corridor with some of those improvements. Kind of touched on the supplier issues and supply chain issues. One of those that hopefully isn't impacted too much, RTA is expecting delivery of 10 commuter buses in the fall. 7 of those 10 will go into service, will be operated by the MTA on the Rutherford County corridor. So that also does tie into some of the issues that Felix was talking about, you know, as fleet in that. As MTA will be doing in the fall, RTA will also be ramping up to full service. So that will have an additional bus and operator requirement. So unless there are any questions, Madam Chair, that concludes my report.
Any questions for Steve? Better remember to turn on the mic. These are sort of cool too. These mics are. I don't know whose they are, but they're awesome. You can see who's talking. So I don't have much in my report. First of all, Marty, welcome. On behalf of the board, we're just really excited about working with NDOT and the work that we can do together. And you just have a great partner in Steve and all the other staff here at WeGo MTA. So thank you and welcome. Hope you'll come again. Also, I'm excited. You know, Steve and I have been talking a lot about this board governance and how we do it and how we might do it better and how we might do it more fully. It is so critically important for this board to support the work that is going on at MTA WeGo and to be able to take some time and position ourselves to better support the work and to support our community in bringing transit to Nashville is important. And I just think that we're all going to get a lot from it, and particularly with two newer board members. I think Mr. Searcy and I are rather veteran at this, so, but still, even though being a veteran, it's a great opportunity for us to refresh and refresh collectively to make for a better board. So looking forward to that. And I say this, and I continue to just be in awe of the good work that is being done by all of the staff. That includes drivers, mechanics, all of you that are in planning, and to see this much work and to see all of the progress that's being made on so many different levels is encouraging, is awesome, and really appreciate the hard work that everybody's putting in these days. We're still in a pandemic, and so it doesn't make things easy, and I know your work is hard and you're challenged by things that are so far out of your control, but I respect you all, and I know the rest of these board members will say the same thing. Just keep on doing it, and if you need us, just call upon us. So that concludes my report for today, so thank you all. Is there any questions? Anything else from anybody? If there is nothing further.
Move adjournment.
Move for adjournment. I think there's a second on that somewhere, right? Second, we are adjourned.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information about this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.